Hey everybody, it's Nikki T. Welcome to Weight Loss for Women Over 40 podcast. I am so excited you are here, and I have a juicy topic today. We're going to be talking about holiday anxiety, family triggers, and your nervous system, which is really your primitive brain. So, like I said, it's a juicy episode, so I'm hoping that you're going to stay for the entire podcast. Have you grabbed my free ebook, Mind and Body Reset? If you haven't, you need to go grab it. This is where I uncover 5 mindset shifts that quietly determine whether your body works for you or against you. If you have been stuck, frustrated, and feeling like your body isn't your own, this ebook's going to show you exactly where to start. Go grab your free copy of this 80-page ebook at weightlossforwomenover40.net/reset. You can pause the podcast right now and go grab it if you want, and then come on back because, like I said, we're going to dive into it. This is a good episode, so don't miss it. So, I want you to pause for a second wherever you are listening from, and I want you to take a slow breath in and let it out. And just notice your body for a minute. Now, I want you, if you can close your eyes, go ahead and do so. Do not do it if you're driving and listening to this podcast or if you're on a treadmill, unless you're holding on a treadmill. But I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine that you're walking through the door of your childhood home. Maybe it's your parents' house. Um, maybe it's a family gathering. Maybe it's an aunt's house that you always went to. Or maybe it's present day. Maybe it's present day going to your in-laws, going to whoever you go visit for the holidays, or maybe they're coming to your house. And I want you to really get into this pre-mode before you walk through that door, before the people come in who are arriving at your house. And I want you to take inventory of your body. Is there anything going on? Meaning, is your chest tightening up? Is your jaw clenched? Can you feel your shoulders rising? This is what I want to talk about today. Holiday anxiety, family triggers, and why your nervous system, again, your primitive brain, starts firing up and reacts the way it does. And the reason why we're talking about this is because, generally speaking, when this happens, emotionally eating is not going to be far behind. And if you're in the holiday moments and there's a ton of food in front of you, all yummy food that you like to eat, especially this time of year, you might have some emotional eating that's going to happen. So when you go home for the holidays, you're not just walking into a room or a house, you're really walking into a time machine. And your body remembers things your brain thinks you forgot. When you return home, or when your family's coming over, I'm just going to say when you return home for the rest of this, but know that this can apply to any situation. It's not just family dynamics, okay? When you are in these situations, the old versions of yourself start bubbling up. They start rising to the surface. It might have been the 8-year-old of you who felt ignored. It might be 12-year-old version of you who learned to stay small and avoid criticism. It might be the 15-year-old who hid in the pantry because food was the only comfort, control, and safety that they had. Your adult brain knows that you're safe now, right? But your nervous system doesn't care about logic at all. It reacts to cues. It reacts to the smells, right? This is why food is such a trigger for us because the smell of the food will bring you immediately back to a moment. What popped in my brain is I remember whenever I smell vanilla pudding, like Jello pudding, it immediately snaps me back to my grandmom's house because she would always make me vanilla pudding, instant vanilla pudding, right? Loved it. Oh my gosh, so good. There may be cookies, especially at Christmas. There's all kinds of things tied to smells of cookies. I can still remember the smells of cooking, like my mom making Christmas cookies, right? So there's also voices, right? There's also family traditions that you do, or even pressure to perform, right? To be polite, to be happy, to be like the perfect adult child version of you. And suddenly your nervous system, which again is run by your primitive brain, it kind of whispers, I'm not feeling so safe here. Please protect me. What can we do? And what happens is your go-to coping mechanism, your strategy, is usually food. And I don't care how much you think that you are armed with willpower and grit. One look, one comment, and it will send you right back to that time where you were shamed, berated, or something, and you will look for food for comfort, for soothing, because it's familiar and it's safe to you. It's your brain saying, I need something to survive this. And it will pull out the most used file and it will download it. And it will be, generally speaking, emotionally eating. And emotionally eating isn't about sugar or carbs or calories. That's not the issue. You are not driven to eat cookies. So let me give you this scenario so this really sinks in. Say you love chocolate chip cookies, it's your kryptonite. And if you had that in front of you, you could not resist eating that. What if I made you chocolate chip cookies and I presented them to you, right? And you just were like, oh my gosh, I can't resist. I can't resist. It's not about the sugar or those cookies. It's about the thoughts that you're having about those cookies or the memories you're having about those cookies. Because if I handed you a cookie and I said, here's a cookie, and then I got, say, I don't know, I'm making this scenario up. Like, say someone told me, oh my gosh, by the way, I dropped the cookies in turpentine and I didn't tell you before you mixed it. Would you want to eat that cookie that has now turpentine in it that you didn't know before? No, you wouldn't because you got new information about that cookie. If you were addicted to that cookie, it wouldn't matter. You would be like, oh my gosh, right? So in that moment, your brain's like, death or eat the cookie. And your brain's like, no, we don't want death, right? That I hope that's making sense to you because it is not about the actual food. When you go back, it's almost like back to your family and you're in these scenarios, it's almost like regression therapy for your primitive brain. When family chaos spikes, say you came from a family that was always arguing, or mom and dad never talked to each other and there was tension all the time, or your mother-in-law used to drive you crazy, that kind of thing. When that spikes, your body regresses to what worked in the past. That childhood coping mechanism could be hiding in the pantry, overeating to soothe, numb it all out while your parents are fighting in the kitchen. That suddenly will resurface. The holidays will bring forward the oldest patterns your body learned for safety. We're talking when you were little. You may not actually remember. Some of you may remember a moment where you're like, yes, I remember. That's exactly the moment in time. And some of you may not. It might have been a little bit more subtle. But this is biology, right? Because the primitive brain's in high gear. It thinks danger. Danger, Will Robinson, danger, right? There's something around us. But it's also psychology. And it's your primitive brain trying to survive in a familiar but overstimulating environment. So family triggers show up in layers, right? There's a layer of shame. It's like, I'm still not good enough, echoes from the criticism as a child. It could be a layer of guilt. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be grateful and happy. I should be putting everything aside because it's the holidays. Another layer could be nostalgia. Certain foods, right? Smells, traditions, they bring comfort, but they also reinforce old looping patterns that you have. And another layer could be feeling belonging versus safety. So you want to be loved and accepted, but the very people you love can trigger tension. They can trigger comparison, even fear. So notice how those triggers make emotional eating feel inevitable. The emotional eating will quiet the tension. It gives you a false sense of something predictable. It creates a temporary safety amongst the chaos. So today we're not doing a checklist and we're not handing out shoulds or shouldn'ts. If you are a client of mine, you know how I talk about shoulds and shouldn'ts. But instead, I want you to be really curious about what triggers you. When you feel triggered, where do you feel the tension in your body? Is it your chest, your jaw, your stomach? Where is it? What memory or part of your past does this tension connect to? If you can pinpoint a moment in time where you remember, yes, I remember that happening, you need to pull apart that thread right there. It's a tangled, knotted necklace. We need to slowly pull it apart, right? You also need to ask your primitive brain, is it asking for safety or comfort? What's going on? And once you find this in your body, tell yourself this. There it is. I see you. You are safe now. I am present in this moment. I am safe in this moment. All is good. This simple rewiring and noticing what's going on in your body goes so much further than you should be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that, right? Awareness is going to be your first step. Understanding the mindset tools, those are next. So let's do a tiny little check-in together while we're on this podcast. Again, if you can close your eyes, do so. Or if you're in the middle of driving or doing something else, you can just tab this right here and come back to it when you have a moment, okay? So little check-in, little body check-in. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your body rise and fall with your breath. And then notice any tension without judgment. No judgment involved. Just notice where there's tension. And tell yourself you're allowed to feel what you're feeling right now. You are allowed to have emotions. You're allowed to have feelings. You are a human being in this world. You're not a human doing in this world. You're being. Who are you being? Notice how you feel right now. Tell yourself, I am safe in this moment, and I am way bigger than my triggers. Take another deep breath, and notice if the tension kind of eases up a little bit. Do this as many times as you need to. You may pull this out when you're at family events. I wish I had this. It's 15, actually probably 20 some years ago. I really wish this. I had a lot of stress and anxiety when I would host family events. I am not going to get into it on the podcast here, but I wish I had this mindset information because I would have been way more regulated than I am. But that's okay because I know it now. So in this holiday season, I want you to know there's no strict eating rules, right? No avoiding family, no fixing yourself. There's nothing to be fixed, right? Just body awareness and being present in the moment. I think we take that for granted a lot. We're so busy, and trust me, I'm the same way. I'm so busy going to the next thing, going to the next thing. Can't wait to do the next thing. Enjoy this moment. So when your triggers come up, just know that they're messengers. They're not enemies. They're like, it's not this thing that you have. They're like red flags. They're red flags saying, hey, something's not right. Because food is not the problem. It is your primitive brain that is doing the talking. It's doing the navigating. It's talking to your nervous system. It's pulling out the files, when you start to feel anxious, it is really just trying to protect you. And feeling anxious is not a problem. It's not a flaw. It's your body signaling a need for safety. You don't feel safe in that moment. Your old coping mechanisms, strategies, they are not a weakness for you. They were your survival skills. They still may be your survival skills, but they are definitely skills that you can put down now. Yes, you want to learn how to, first we want to unpack, right? So if you were a client of mine and you had some old coping strategies that you were still clinging to, we would unpack them, right? We'd kind of dive in and see what's going on. And then we would take the time to allow your primitive brain to know that it's safe and to know that you can put these skills down, these survival skills that got you through whatever it is that you're either got through or you're in. And then we build in new ones to elevate you, new ones to make you become this new version of yourself. The one that gets the lean body, the one that doesn't feel triggered when their mother-in-law walks in, the one that doesn't feel triggered when a pile of chocolate chip cookies sits in front of them, one who understands the way your brain works, the way your body works, and how you can make them work for you, not against you. So when you step back and you start noticing these patterns, something's going to shift in you. Always choose curiosity over judgment. We judge ourselves way too much. And yes, I think it is a natural part of us because, again, your primitive brain's like trying to filter out what's dangerous, what's not dangerous, that kind of thing. So there is a lot of judgment, right? But I think now that we're not being chased by saber-toothed tigers, the judgment shows up in other areas, right? Being aware of what is actually happening, what is actually going on in your external environment, but also in your internal environment. And choosing compassion. Always choose compassion over judging yourself, over judging other people as well. Your body remembers things and will give you signals of what it's holding on to. Instead of running the old scripts, the old patterns, the old strategies that you used in survival mode, just know that you are the adult behind your wheel and driving your own bus. So before you leave this episode, I want you to do a couple things. I want you to breathe again. You can place your hand over your heart if you like to, and then tell yourself you're safe, you're good, I'm seen, I'm enough. There's no need to eat to soothe yourself. There's no need to fix either. There's nothing wrong with you. Just be here, be present with yourself, and let your primitive brain know it's finally safe and that they can put down those survival skills. Thank you so much for being here until the very end of this podcast. I applaud you because pretty sure most people don't finish all the podcasts they listen to. Hopefully you listened to all mine all the way to the end. Now that the episode is over, go grab your free ebook, Mind and Body Reset, over at weightlossforwomen over40.net/reset. I will see you either on Instagram or in the next episode. Take care.